Paul called this public safety meeting. 5 minutes. Meeting has been given public notice in accordance with Wisconsin statute section 19.83 and 19.84 in such form that will appraise the general public and news media of subject matter that is intended for discussion and action. Roll call. We have everyone here except for Jolene at this time, and I understand that she might join us later. Public comment at this particular time. Do we have anybody? Deanna? Thank you. Under Roman numeral 4, approval of minutes from March 7th, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll make a second, please.
Okay, is there any comments or corrections in regard to these minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion approves. This time we'll go into Roman numeral 5, reports. Police Department, please. Good afternoon.
So we just recently completed the Police and Fire Commission interviews for new hires. We did establish an eligibility list, so we are starting background investigation on several candidates, and we hope to be able to make offers to them within the next couple weeks. We're still actively pursuing grant opportunities. We did get the grant to replace a bunch of our desktop computers up there that we would have had to come back next year in the budget time. But basically our command staff will have their desktops replaced. The state just recently came out with the grant for law enforcement. Our award is going to be just under $50,000. So we have to start looking at what we're going to spend that money on. And again, we are looking at equipment that we would probably be coming to ask for money in the budget next year to use grant money to replace that equipment. The taser is probably one piece of equipment we'll use that money on. Potentially some defibs that are in need of updates. So we're going to just kind of sit down and figure out what that process is going to look like. I do not know when that money is going to be made available, but they're assuming sometime within the next few months. Officer Pesh was awarded I think I talked about that last time, actually, the VFW Certificate of Appreciation Award. And lastly, I did not get it done in time to include with this, but I was working with Capital Data to get the monthly reports up and running again. So those, I do have April's that I can send out, but moving forward, those should be coming with our packets.
Very good. Any questions to the police?
How many openings?
Right now, we have 3. Captain Grenier announced his retirement in June. There'll be another spot. So 4 for sure off of this list.
How long's the eligibility list?
They established it for 1 year.
People running so far?
8.
Chief
Remember
Snow.
originally applied.
We had 52 apply, I think. Only 20 some showed up for the physical agility and the written test. And from there, 12 made it to the next process.
Most of those rankings were 80 and above.
For the written, it was anything over 70%, and then the physical is just pass fail.
Yeah, I was talking about the written part per se, but the final amount would have been just the written report then.
Correct.
Been too many years since I was on that committee. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Was there anything that stood out in your March report here as far as violation?
No, there is going to be kind of an outlier in the March numbers because we did have I meant to touch on that, the first of the drug interdictions from our grant. And they did that March 30th. It was just our officers, and I believe they had 42 stops, number of canine searches, number of citations, number of arrests, some arrests for controlled substance. But I do have those numbers as well, and I do not have that report with me though.
Is that something you
Is
could
that-
maybe add for next month?
Absolutely.
Summary of that. Now, the only question I had was that 49,000, was that specified for anything in particular?
Was very vague on what it can be used for, just public safety related is what what the basic criteria is. So it's pretty wide open what we can use it for.
Has that been, have we had that in the past?
No,
I was gonna say, I don't remember that.
It's a grant.
No, I understand.
Oh.
But the difference between the grant is that sometimes there's a 50/50 payment. Is there any money that,
it'll basically be how the COVID grant was set up, where we will make the purchases and get reimbursed through the grant.
very good. Well, then, in other words, you can spend it on the equipment that you talked about
Correct.
and then get reimbursed for that.
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate that. The fire department, please? Oh, should we,
I just wanted to say, congratulations on getting all these thank yous that you included. Appreciate that.
Okay. Thank you.
go ahead, John, please.
Okay, the fire department, we continue to be really busy this year. We are averaging over 200 calls a month since the beginning of the year. So that's record numbers for us. When I looked today, I think we're at 622 is what I saw. So since the beginning of the year, 622 calls. We do currently have one of our engines out of service. Our newest engine, when it was purchased, it was right on the borderline of the weight that it could be with the amount of axles that it has on it. And currently we are on rear spring number 3 that keeps breaking because of the weight of the vehicle. The problem we're having with this one now is the manufacturer is out of springs. So it is sitting at Milwaukee Spring. It's been there for 5 days? 5 days waiting, so
Is that the one in Wauwatosa?
it is.
I go by there every Sunday, or whatever. but-
Yeah, so it's currently there, trying to find parts. So that'll be out of service until we can procure parts for that vehicle. But we do have one other engine that's being utilized instead. As far as other things with the fire department, we're doing good on inspections this year. Each shift has about 130 to 130 inspections left to go, which is pretty good. And we just keep moving along. It's a custom-made part from Pierce themselves, and Pierce themselves is out of them. So the mechanics are working on it to see what else they can do. But being that it is vehicle specific and custom, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, it is. The only problem that I have is when we spec that thing out, does your department spec them out, or how does that function?
We spec out what we want on a vehicle. When it goes then to the vehicle manufacturers, they do all their mathematical equations to figure out.
Okay, they do, okay.
They do.
I didn't know for
And
sure.
we did know it was right on the edge for the weight to axle ratio, but it was supposed to be okay. But like I said, that truck is a 2015 and this will be the third rear spring we're putting on it.
Being in regard to reimbursement from them?
No, the warranty is well gone on that. It's 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty.
I realize, but because this is not unique.
I can't speak that it's unique. Each fire truck is different and they're all custom made to your department. So I don't know what the specifications are. I would just know we were told that it was right on the border. So there are some things I am looking at to see what we can do, possibly to maybe lighten it a little bit, but I have not come to a determination on any of those are really viable or not. No,
On one side?
it's always the rear spring, but it's both, it's been two on one side and one on the
Okay,
other.
Both of the rear ones, okay.
Yep.
I'm familiar with it to some degree, and realistically, they should have put another leaf in there to actually take up the difference on it, especially when you get something that close, that doesn't make sense. They're not doing us any favor, especially if we're not getting reimbursed
Yeah,
consideration for it. 'Cause most of the time, it probably didn't happen until after 36,000 miles anyhow.
no, the first time this happened was 3 years ago, or the second time it happened was 3 years ago, and probably 4 or 5 years ago for the first time.
Yeah. Whatever, live and learn, I guess, that's how we do this.
Yep.
Anything else, John, please?
Not right now.
Any questions from the committee, please? Policy updates? We have none. Under new business, fire department, A?
I'm gonna let Bob take this one. Battalion Chief Asmundi.
You're the chief, you can do that,
He did the legwork.
but he knows the answers.
All right, so what we're gonna look to do is replace two of our staff vehicles. The battalion chief vehicle we currently have now is the Silverado 2500. It also does have the water pump for grass fires along with a 200-gallon tank on the back of it. And then also the fire chief's Explorer. That actually just came back last week from repairs. It had to get a head gasket replacement, and it currently is still leaking oil yet. So we're have to take it back again. Our other vehicle that we would be replacing with the chief's vehicle, if we were able to get both of these Explorers, would be the Caprice, which was given to us by the police department. That vehicle has 115,000 miles. It has had numerous oil leaks on it,
Yeah.
exhaust leaks that are going into the cab system, and it's becoming a hazard for our members to be driving it to and from school with having some sort of leak, exhaust leak. I was able to get this quote on behalf of Lieutenant Merton from the police department. This is where they're ordering their squad cars from. This Kaiser in Madison, they're ordering 70 squad cars for this year. And we're unable to find any other squad cars right now, any Explorer squad cars or Silverado, or excuse me, Tahoe staff vehicles to be able to get them this year. This Kaiser has 70 of them. Last time I talked to the individual, there's 17 of them left. And they're $35,000, excuse me, $34,000 a piece for both of them. And then this would replace the current vehicle that the chief drives. That would go to our staff department vehicle. And then the vehicle that the battalion chief drives, that would just be specifically for brush fires.
We have money in the budget?
For this year, I had budgeted for numerous different types of vehicles, including a slide-in unit for the grass truck, a UTV, a staff vehicle. With the way that the brush truck has worked out, the UTV will not be needed. We'd like to transfer the funding that we are going to use for the UTV to purchase two staff vehicles instead. So we did budget for money for it.
Okay, and how much money was in that budget?
50,000 for the UTV.
So you have a little, so you have a little cushion there.
We do have money, and there was 80,000 budgeted for a staff vehicle. That would include radios and everything. The two together will equate to enough for both vehicles.
Then we'd also be able to take out two of the radios in the Caprice right now and use that to put in the new staff vehicles. That's one of the big expenses is the actual radios themselves at about $8,000 to $9,000 a piece.
And how much is the transfer of all this stuff going to be, besides what the vehicles are?
I do not have an exact figure for that right now.
approximately?
I would guess approximately 10 to 15, yes.
Will there be enough to cover, where we purchase them? Is that where they transfer it?
No, we take it
To another
to
place?
either General Communications or General Fire, and they're the ones who install all that equipment.
Okay. So if I may be so bold, then we should get enough money for the vehicles and the transfer in our motion. Correct?
Correct. Are you going to be taking that out of that Fund 8520?
That's correct.
Okay. And is the 145 the total balance?
In that fund,
Yeah. with
that's the
that.
total balance in that fund.
Okay, with whatever you transferred out of the brush fire thing?
It's the same fund.
Okay. So, I'll make a motion.
Please.
I move that we approve agenda item, what was it?
A,
A,
new business.
new business, for 2 vehicles and a transfer of the radios for a total of 68 plus 15, call it 84, maximum of 84. Does that sound about right?
It would be 15 per vehicle.
Oh, let's up that. 30. How about 100?
Yes.
For a maximum of 100,000
Okay.
to cover both vehicles and the radios. Out of account number ending 8520.
Julian, you made a second? Very good. Any other further discussion in regard to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Under new business B, Kiwanis temporary license for July 28th, Taste of Germantown.
Seconded.
Is that for only, oh, is this Taste of Germantown?
Mhm.
Oh,
That's what it
that's
says
only
here.
a one,
The
one
Gale
time deal.
Pavilion in Fireman Park.
Okay. Never mind. Thank you.
Do we have a motion in a second?
Yeah.
Very good. Any further discussion?
No.
None? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Need to look at when our next meeting is. That should be May 2nd, I believe, at 6 PM. Go ahead. Did I make a mistake? May 2nd. Okay, so we're good on that one? All right, very good. Any other comments from this committee before we adjourn? Seeing none? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.